Welcome to Elizabeth's Chronicles. If you love true crime, consider subscribing. In today's episode we are going to look into the claims that Chris Watts made, that something else was controlling him, when he heartlessly strangled his pregnant wife Shanann and his two beautiful daughters, Bella and Cece. When this horrific tragedy happened, nearly everyone was shocked. Chris Watts was an everyday, family man who by all accounts was a doting father and husband. Watts had secretly started an illicit affair with co-worker Nicole Kessinger. Let's take a look at the letter Chris Watts wrote to Cadell. Chris wrote, "This may sound crazy, but I think I was hypnotized. How else does a person go from loving his family, to the tragedy of August 13th? I see the events over, and over, and over again. My memory has not shifted. It felt like I had no control. Like a plan was hatched, and I was the pawn in a bigger scheme. Although, I never saw it with my own eyes, it came out later, that she was into some dark things. The stones, and anathema. She took a stone with her on the camping trip, and it's how she represents her grandma. In the discovery, she was looking up things that were going through my mind. Did she put those thoughts there? I go over it all the time in my mind. It felt like I was hunted like prey. She found someone broken and devoured me whole." When Watts says dark things, I wonder what he means. Does he mean evil? Witchcraft? Or does he mean sexual in nature? We know that Nicole was looking up threesomes and anal sex a few days before all this happened. Maybe the dark things he is referring to is simply a threesome they had, and maybe the reason she didn't want her friend involved was because he was the one they did the threesome with. Or maybe it was more sinister. Maybe Nikki and Jim were into the occult. When pressed as to what he meant by dark things, he did say he would take that with him to his grave. So it makes one wonder, what would be so dark, that he wants to keep it hidden that badly? Chris said, "When I woke up that morning, I felt like I was in a trance. Put clothes on that were old, and didn't fit. And I didn't mind throwing away. Made my lunch, and went back upstairs. I felt compelled." Is it possible that Kessinger was into the occult, and possible witchcraft of some sort? Maybe Watts told Kessinger that things for them would be easier if he didn't already have a family. Maybe Nicole mentioned to him that she could do a spell of some sort. And Chris agreed. According to research, if someone is hexed, they can be compelled to do things they wouldn't normally do. And according to the research, there's dark magic, and then there's white magic, and most that delve into witchcraft will use both dark and white magic at some point. From my research, I discovered to cast a hex on someone all you need is a picture of them, a black string, and a black candle. You wrap the black string around the rolled up picture and light the black candle. Then you lay the rolled up image in front of the candle, say the hex you want to cast 3 times, then blow out the candle. Your hex is then cast on the person. If someone casts a spell of compulsion, according to research, the person retains full consciousness, all actions are completely normal except in the ways specifically defined by the hex or spell. They rationalize the compelled actions as justifiable. Within their own mind, it's completely justified. Psychology has shown that the human mind is extraordinarily complex, and capable of holding 2 contradictory points of view. The human mind can even fabricate memories if they assist in removing guilt or shame. A spell creates a decision to act in the mind of the subject, and then the rest of the subject's mind alters whatever else is necessary to support such a conclusion. Even at times when it goes completely against the person's character. I also discovered possession spells. Where a witch can cast a possession spell on their target, This uses satanic magic, and only requires the witch to be near the person for a moment, and say an incantation. They then can control that person's movements and actions, for as long as they want, until they remove the spell. I found all sorts of other spells that a person could use to force a person to do things they normally would not do. All use various levels of incantations and objects. Or maybe it was a demonic force. Sometimes when you mingle with things such as the occult, dark forces can take over. Is it beyond the realm of possibilities, that something did enter Chris Watts, and that is the feeling he had, that he had no control? After all, in the Holy Bible, demons were very real. In today's time they can get more destruction done by remaining unnoticed. Is it coincidence that when Chris Watts was in his neighbor's house, and they were about to watch the camera footage of his driveway, that an unborn baby drowning in oil and blowing up, shows up on the screen? It makes you wonder, what was going on there? It was ironic, considering that his own children were decomposing in oil and his unborn son, the son he always wanted, was murdered along with his mother. Maybe this was God, who is all-seeing, letting Chris know that he seen what was done and nothing goes unpunished. Or maybe Chris Watts is just trying to push blame to someone else. Maybe in his decrepit mind, if he can convince himself, and others, that someone else controlled his mind, some dark force, then it can still feel like he's a good person. Or is it possible that his mistress put a hex on him, a sacrifice to her occult, or was it some dark force that took control? Even if this did happen, it does not make him innocent. It was still his hands that murdered his entire family. What do you think? Was Chris Watts under some sort of spell? Do you think it could have been a demon? Or is Chris Watts a demon himself? Evil inside and out. That concludes this episode. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button and subscribe.